Welcome to Storytime at the Roo Bus, a weekly podcast about the Bonnaroo Music and Arts Festival. I'm your host, Sharla.
What's up, y'all? It's Daniel, and we're just about 2 weeks away now. We're getting to the nitty-gritty. I'm going to be honest, we were about to record this either from the inside of the bus or on our back porch, but it's kind of pouring rain out tonight. It would have sounded like the inside of a tin can from inside the bus tonight.
So speaking of rain, what do you think about the weather on the farm this year?
Oh boy, I know we're at the stage of things where this is a big concern for a lot of people. And look, y'all, you're going to see people say this over and over. You can't predict the weather in Tennessee or the Deep South in general this time of the year. Like any extended forecast that you're going to see at this point, look, let's be honest, it's a little bit of like BS. Like, you can kind of look into the future and be like, oh, it's going to be pretty warm and there's going to be a 30% chance of rain. Yeah, that's for now between, May and September. So, look, here's my guess. Like, it has been a little cool and it's been raining a lot, but that just means we're due. I think we're almost due for like a high pressure system to come in and, make us miss a couple of weeks of rain and for it to get in the high 80s or low 90s. I am not a meteorologist. I'm not a weather person. I don't know. I don't know all the science behind that, a person that you would see on TV or the newspaper or wherever. I don't know that, but that's my guess. What about you?
It could just go either way. I mean, like you said, you could just never predict the weather around here. It could just really go anyway.
Yeah, I think we're going to be okay, though. I know people are starting to worry about that. What I will say, and I'm saying this as somebody that does have to drive a giant thing in, if you do worry about that, if we do get close and it is, really rainy, bring a couple of plywood boards. I went and got some for the bus just a couple of days ago, and you can get like 4 big boards for like $15 that you can use and kind of use as leverage if you get into like a muddy situation, right? We've had to do that a little bit before. I went ahead and put the bus on boards because it has been raining. I didn't want to get stuck in the mud, but now I'm good. It's on top of those, so when we're ready to pull it out, it should have no issue.
Yeah.
What have been the other concerns that you've seen on Reddit lately? I mean, weather is obviously a big one, but what is everybody worried about right now?
Oh, that's been a big one for sure.
Yeah. I think we're going to be okay. I wouldn't have any anxiety over that. I think here in about a week or so, the weather will start to come into forecast. But even then, you don't know. There might be a pop-up storm in this kind of summertime weather.
Oh, right. And there usually is one every year.
Yeah, and it's okay because it kind of keeps the dust down. It can, have some interruption to a show. I know a lot of people are still a little miffed that we didn't get a full quartet set last year. And we didn't really get to do the full Call Me Maybe thing like we all wanted to because that got interrupted by rain. Right before that, I remember I was coming back in that Sunday and I was going with Goth Babe that Sunday evening. And I could hear, that song in the distance from the while Goth Babe was getting ready. Like everybody on that side over at the Witch was singing that also. That was a fun little moment. But yeah, that's just to say, yeah, it could happen. But y'all, for real, don't worry that much about the weather. They really do have a good system for drainage on the farm. The only situation in which things are really going to get hairy is like it did with the hurricane years ago. But that obviously is not going to happen, right?
Yeah, that was like a pole anomaly. That was a freak thing. So.
Yeah, not happening anytime soon. If there is a hurricane, if there is a hurricane that pops up in the next 2 weeks when it's not really the season for hurricanes, then that's just the man upstairs telling me, no, y'all don't need to have a party right now. I don't know. But Charlotte, we have a little bit to talk about this week now that we're getting close. So we're going to talk a little bit about some announcements we have since the house stage lineup is out.
The house stage and the academy.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that a little bit. And then after that, you and I are going to kind of finalize our schedules a little bit. I know that we looked at it from the camp about a month or two ago when it was first released. But I think we have started to drill down to what we might be doing. I know that changes once you're actually on the ground and side quests present themselves, but we kind of know what shows we're going to and what we're going to be doing at this point, right? All right, so let's go ahead and start with what's happening at the house stage and the academy, as they call it, over there in Planet Roo. And if you're new, you should probably know about this. You want to tell everybody a little bit about the house stage and kind of like the nonprofit area?
Okay, so Planet Roo is where the nonprofits will be at. Planet Roo and Bonnaroo Works Fund. I mean, it's just such an amazing area over there. It's the nonprofit village over there is where the totem booth will be at. Such a cool area. You should definitely go check that out.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hear that area is going to be revamped quite a bit this year. So if you have been in the past, you probably remember that a lot of those nonprofit tents were facing the sun. I know that the people with the parachute people and other nonprofits had a problem because, like, once the sun starts going down, it's right in your face. But I understand there's going to be some big shade structure over everybody this year.
Yeah, the house stage is going to be really revamped this year, and it's going to look super, super, super cool.
Yeah, so come check that out. Obviously, to come see us, but there's a lot of other nonprofits. There's some activities happening. There's some music happening. There's a lot of fun stuff happening. In fact, let's go ahead and talk about one big thing that we want to support kind of like our friends and colleagues on. So there's going to be podcasts every day at 4 p.m. on the house stage. So on Thursday, it's going to be the guys from the What podcast. On Friday, it's going to be the Rooham boys. And then on Saturday, it'll be us. And every one of these has a different theme, right?
Right. They're all called Podcast Party with a Purpose. So on Thursday, it's going to be the What podcast, What's the Farm Without Bonnaroo? Manchester's Perspectives on Bonnaroo's Impact.
Yeah, I think they're talking about how like the city of Manchester really benefits from the event.
And on Friday, Rooham is going to do Techno Roo, AI 360 Sages and the Future of Live Music.
Yeah, they've really been digging into like kind of like the technical side of things lately. I've been listening to them. They had MGZ on this past week.
Oh, cool.
It was cool hearing from her. I was listening to that while we were on the plane.
And then on Saturday, Daniel, do you want to talk about what ours is going to be about?
Yeah, so obviously we're going to be mostly talking about Totem, but we also want to talk about like what makes our community so special and why we want to pass it on to the next generation. So we're going to be talking a little bit about like our favorite traditions, like specific things about Roo culture, things that we want to pass on to the next generation. And I want to make this very interactive. So if you're there, I want to make sure that we have an extra mic. So come up front if you want to be on the podcast and help us with this conversation, because I want to hear everybody's ideas about what are your favorite traditions, what should go to the next generation.
Yeah, it's going to be super, super cool, and we really, really want you guys to come out for it.
And we are going to have a bit of a musical guest, but it's going to be a surprise. You got to be there to hear it for yourself. But yes, you should totally be there. I'm just saying. But also on Thursday at the Academy, which I'm pretty sure is that old post office building, that kind of hut-looking thing. Uh-huh. Yeah, because they've had workshops and such in there. So we are going to be doing 2 at noon and at 1 p.m. on Thursday. I know that's early, and some of you might not even be there by that point. But if you are, we hope we'll see you.
So on Thursday at noon with the Garden Crew, we are going to be doing Bonnaroo 101. And I'm very, very excited for Bonnaroo 101. So you want to talk about that, Daniel?
Yeah, I'm kind of taking the charge on that one. So essentially, that's going to be some of the same subject material as our podcast. I want to use that time frame to talk specifically to rookies. So if you are a rookie or if you have one in your camp, please send them to us, or please come see us at noon in the Academy at Planet Roo. I'm going to be having a talk with some friends about like, okay, here is how to Roo. You made it. You're here. Here's the pitfalls. Here's the mistakes you might make. Here's the good mistakes you might make. Here's the fun side quest you might go on. Here's what to do. Here's what not to do. Have you got your exit buddy? Those kind of things. So we're going to do that. We'll have about a 20-minute or a half-hour talk, and we'll do some Q&A as well. And then we have another one at 1.
Okay, at 1 o'clock, we're going to be doing an event with Lost and Found, creating totems with the Totem Foundation. And it is an event where you create totems with found items. So it's an event that's all about sustainability, and come out and make a really cool totem with us.
Now, you're working on that one. Who are you working on?
So Jax is actually leading that one up. And
okay, cool.
It's going to be such a super, super cool event.
All right, so come and see that. We've done a lot of arts and crafts at our things. We did a little bit of that at South Star last year, too. Mm-hmm. We still got some of those little totem keychains. Yes. I think we might use some of those at our booth as well. But y'all, you got to come see our booth. We have so much crazy stuff that's been stocked away in the bus already that we're going to deliver to the booth.
So our totem booth is going to be open starting Thursday at noon, going all the way until Sunday at 7, 8. It's open daily from whenever.
Yeah, I don't remember the hours right now, but
like
pretty much
9-ish to around 7, 8 every day. And come see us. Come see us in that area. Come see us in the nonprofit area. I mean, it's going to be amazing. We've got awesome, amazing, cool games that you can check out. We've got so many interactive and interactions that you can do. Just
interactions.
so many awesome things that you can do. We've got crafts that you can make. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, so please come down. We've got a good crew. And I know we have some listeners that are volunteering for that too. So more information is going to be coming your way in the next week or so. I'm writing up a little one-page sheet on like, hey, here's what to do. Thank you so much for volunteering. Please come see our volunteers. We want to see you. We've been working hard on this, so come pay everybody a visit. It's going to be a big time. All right, Sharla. This is going to be kind of a short-ish episode this week, but before we jump to our personal schedules and our picks, let's take a look at the Patreon.
Okay, absolutely.
Charlotte's going to go through the names. Here we go. We haven't done this in a few weeks.
Okay. Flossie and Benji, John, Lexi, Isaac, Danny, Lisa, Butter Crew Nick, Delaney, Molly, John with the Texas Roo Crew, Brady, I Am Rave Dad, Taylor, Courtney, Casey with the Texas Roo Crew, Christy, Charmel, Jums, David and Aurora, String Bean, Zach and Jeremy, Amber, Andrea, JB, Sam, Austin, James, Hygiene Queen, Chris and Shy, Dan, Ernst, Harris, Keith, Casey, Andrew, Amanda, Nick,
The devil.
Maddie, McFerg, Andrew, Kent, Randy, Bosco, Eric and Ben, Evan, Jay, Chloe, and Sean.
Thank you, everyone. And Eric, I still want to hear your time in the Cotton Row run. I haven't heard from you on that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You better have finished under an hour. You got to get on it. We got Roo coming up. But yeah, everybody, I just like to troll him. Everybody that is at patreon.com/Roobus, you know the deal. There is going to be some stuff coming your way to your Patreon inbox here in the next week or two before we all get to Manchester. I want to show you exactly what your donations have bought. We have a giant pile for our totem scholarship recipients in the bus already, loaded up for them to pick up as soon as we get there. I want you to see what all you have provided. I think we're going to do a little bonus episode with some tea and stuff for them as well.
Yes, we have some amazing stuff to show you.
Look for that in the next week or two. Again, if you want to pitch in, I almost said if you want to Patreon in. If you want to pitch in, it is at patreon.com/Roobus. And I'm sorry, you were saying something?
I was just going to say our scholarship recipients this year are absolutely spoiled.
Oh my gosh.
And we have chosen just some incredible young people this year to experience Bonnaroo, and I can't wait for them.
I finally got to check in with all three of them on the phone in the past week or two. Oh my gosh, I'm so impressed. They're going to do such a good job. And if you guys are listening, we have a couple of little surprises for you in your Roo piles as well. Oh, okay. I'm not going to tell you until we get there. We got something good. Some of you, if you've been going over a decade, you probably have one of these, but I've given too many hints already. But again, thank you so much to everyone who has pitched in, who has made this happen. It's gotten those supplies for our scholarship recipients. It's gotten the supplies that we needed for our booth. So many things. Thank you so much. We're pulling in over $450 to almost $500 a month for this. So the totem wallet is doing pretty darn good these days, but we are saving for the eventual international program as well.
Right, that's the long-term goal.
Yeah, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that at the podcast thing that we're recording as well. So come hear about that on Saturday too. Now, Sharla, let's get to our actual schedules and our picks. Okay. Who's going first? You want to play paper, rock, scissors for it?
I think you can go first.
You want me to go first?
Sure.
Oh, man. All right, so I have to say, first of all, this is not set in stone because once we get there, side quests could crop up.
Of course.
You know, I may run into a friend that says, hey, this is my favorite band. Will you go with me? It's hard to say no to that. But, you know, this is kind of my advice for everybody. Pick one or two bands each day that's kind of like a non-negotiable for you, but then be prepared for those side quests. Maybe something you have planned doesn't happen. That's okay. You end up going to something else. That's okay. You need to sometimes be willing to say yes to whatever at Bonnaroo, but still have one or two non-negotiable bands a day. For me, you can kind of guess who it is. We'll get to that here in just a moment. So I'm going to go through my Clash Finder. Shout out to whoever does Clash Finder. They've been doing the Lord's work for 10 years or so now. It is so much easier than the actual schedule on the Bonnaroo website because you can kind of highlight the bands that you know that you want to go see and look at the whole thing. All right, so here we go. Going in on Thursday, my plan is to go make a beeline over for the Infinity. So there's a couple of acts that are playing early, starting about like 1 o'clock or something like that. There's nobody that I'm dying to see, maybe Big Gigantic later in the day. But I just want to see the thing. There's been so much talk about it. I think that Roo is really putting their money where their mouth is with this thing this year and taking a bit of a gamble. We'll talk about that one of these days. So I want to see if it lives up to the hype. So, there's no particular artist that I'm dying to see, but other than Sasquatch, that would be funny. But going in on Thursday, what I want to do is, I think the first thing I'm dying to see is the Lemon Twigs at this. I have really been into them lately. After that, I'm interested in Wisp at that tent. They go on, I think about 8 o'clock. The one thing about Clash Finder is it's in military time.
Oh.
Yeah, so you have to kind of like do the math in your head. But yes, Wisp goes on at 20 hours, so that comes out to
10 o'clock.
8. No, it doesn't. It's 8 o'clock. 20 is 8. Yeah, think about it.
See, I don't know.
Yeah, 20 is 8. So Wisp at that tent, I've really gotten into them. I like their kind of like alternative emo sound. I will probably go check out at least a few from Luke Combs starting at 2100. That one is at 9 o'clock. Okay. Thank you very much.
Apologies.
I do want to see what all the hype is about. I am not by any means a pop country person, but I know a few of his songs. I mean, they've been making a big deal of it. He apparently wanted to play Roo and kind of made the move to be there. So I want to go see the guy and see what he can do. After that, I'm interested in Daniel Donato's Cosmic Country at 23, which is 11 p.m. Thank you. I really like that sound. I'm going to swing by Dom Dalla at the other for a little bit. I want to see what he's got going on since so many people have been talking about it. And then at 1 in the morning, I got to at least stop by and see how the magnets work with ICP themselves. I am not putting on the face paint. I know Mitchell is probably going to do that. I know he had some tips about that. But when in the world am I going to get a chance to see ICP? It's just not going to happen otherwise. So that's just a must-see. I'm stopping by that for sure. The next day, on Friday, Flip Turn is a must-see because we're buddies. It's so awesome to see him go from the bus to the what stage. They're going to be there a little before 5. I know that makes it tricky because on Friday, the Rooham guys are doing that. I want to stop by and I want to heckle the other podcast because they're buddies. So I'm going to go heckle like Russ and the guys with the what, and then like Parker and the guys with Rooham a little bit. But really, I'm going to go support them. But I'll go see them for a minute, then make a beeline over to the what stage at 5 p.m. for Flip Turn. See them for a little bit. After that, maybe there will be a walk by for Wallows because I know so many people love them, and I dig some of their songs too. But the real priority for me is going to get up close at this tent at 7 o'clock for King Giz. That is the non-negotiable. Catch me at all 3 sets, every minute of them, with a possible exception I'll talk about here in a moment. And I am heartbroken that means that I'm going to miss Foster the People. I've never seen them, always wanted to, but you got to make some priority decisions sometimes. After King Giz, I'm going to go see Goose for probably all of it, which means I also have to miss Rainbow Kitten. I am a little bummed about that, but we did get to see them a few months ago. I'm okay with it. But a big priority is going to getting myself, Lacey, and some friends in the pit for Glass Animals starting about 12:30. We have been waiting so many years for late nights in the middle of June over at the Witch Stage. It is going to be a memorable Roo moment for forever. I got to be in the pit for that. After that, I'm swinging by Tipper for a little bit before we hit the sack. I got to see at least a few because apparently he's retiring. So that's at least a big extended walk by must see for me before I get to bed. Now, the next day, Saturday. This is going to be a little tricky because we have our podcast at 4. But if I can talk some friends into going with me after we do some Q&A and talk with everybody, I'm going to go see Dope Lemon starting a little after 5. Hopefully catch the back half of that set. So if you are interested after our podcast, go make a run with me over there to this tent. I want to see them. I've really gotten into them. After that, I'm going to kind of just bounce around and see what's going on. But you guys have taught me into skipping Averill and going full in on the 70s Pool Party Super Jam. You guys drive a hard bargain. You bought me some lifeguard swim shorts I've got to wear, apparently. So that's happening. Now, here's a question. We've been discussing this internally here. They need to get Peter Frampton to show up. I know Barry's been joking about that, but Peter Frampton makes so much sense. If it's a 70s pool party super jam, you want to bring out the yacht rock vibe.
He set in with Pearl Jam?
Yeah, he did. He played a song or two with Pearl Jam a couple weeks ago. Brian Stone was there, yeah.
And he lives an hour away in
Yeah.
Nashville, so it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Like somebody said, it makes sense. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's going to be a banger. You all saw the lineup that was announced for it in the past week or so. It looks like it potentially could be one of the best super jams of all time at Bonnaroo. So I do want to see this for myself. And I think I probably can see myself there at most of it. Now, if there's some amazing moment that happens, I'm like, okay, you're not going to top that. I'll probably go catch the end of Modest Mouse possibly at that tent. But the big priority after that is I got to get the kid Lacey over to see at least a few songs for Olivia Rodrigo. Mm-hmm. I'm talking so fast, I'm stumbling over my words. Got to get the kid to see Olivia Rodrigo. Her friends have been asking her about it at school. She's been hyped about it. I got to get her there to see, about a half hour or so. After that, this tent, King Giz again. Now, here is the exception for me. If King Gizzard has played some of my favorite tracks, especially Head On Pill, maybe Dripping Tap again, a couple of the other ones I really love. If they've already done that by that point, I can see myself dipping out a little early to go catch a good bit of Justice and maybe even Arcade Fire. I know it's problematic and tricky with everything going on, but I'll at least kind of have some morbid curiosity about what this Santa Parada thing really is. After those, might do a walk by of Gorgon City on the way back. Definitely not doing the sunrise for that. We'll see how the kid feels at that point. All right, going to Sunday. I'm going to go in a little late. I know you have some early ones that you'll talk about here in a moment. But the first big priority, one of the biggest priorities for me of the whole weekend is Royal Otis. A little before 5 p.m. over at Witch Stage. I've fallen in love with them. I've talked about this before. I'm so hyped to see them. The only big decision is, am I getting in the pit for them? Because King Gizzard is right after them on Witch Stage, and that's probably going to be a banger set since they're getting the main stage. We might do the pit for that. I don't know. It's probably going to be a day-up decision. After that, Vampire Weekend over on what? I am so excited to see the revamped Vampire Weekend, Jampire Weekend. Mm-hmm. We saw them over 10 years ago, but they are kind of sort of a rebooted band at this point. I hope we get the covers at the end of the set. I hope we get some good jam songs. I'm so pumped for it. After that, I'll probably walk by a little bit of Queens of the Stone Age. Lacey and I already saw them at Shaky Knees last year, but I'm going to take her over to LSZ. I think she'll love that. I'll love that. I have a bit of a hot take. I'm probably going to entirely skip Hosier. I mean, it's nothing against him or his fans. It's just I've seen him a couple of times. I know the deal. Washed Out over at the Infinity sounds like a little bit better of a way to close things out to me. I'm really looking forward to that. I've always loved them. I think that'll be a good melancholy way to end the weekend, at least before we go to the after party out in the campgrounds. So yeah, that is kind of the plan for me. Obviously, King Gizzard is a big priority. Royal Otis is a big priority. Making sure the kid has a good time is probably the biggest priority. She's hyped for King Giz too, and Olivia, so I'm going to have a good time one way or another. She's going to be my little spirit guy that takes me on a side quest, and I'm okay with that. We kind of are aligned with King Giz. Anything else happens, just happens. But I do have to go see Royal Otis. All right, so that's my weekend. Let's hear yours.
Okay, so I'm going to actually start on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So Wednesday, we've got the group party that we're kicking off at 4 p.m., and we've got that Totem Purple Carpet event. So you want to tell a little bit about that? I know we've talked about it before, but you want to go over it just a tad?
Yeah.
What the Purple Carpet is?
So the backstory is last year we were watching Crazy Things from the Met Gala, and I was like, this is silly. We shouldn't be worshiping celebrities and, like gawking over these like $100,000 outfits and things like that. We should do a version of that for the Bonnaroo crowd. So I love having everyone wear their Wookiee best to a literal purple carpet that we have. And we roll it out, and it leads up to the welcoming event of the weekend. So be there. I think Evan and some other photographers will be taking your picture. Wear your Wookieest finest. Wear it to the big Wednesday party. We'll get your picture. We want you to come in like a supermodel and feel like $1 million.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think Andrew's actually going to be DJing that a little bit from what I last heard.
That's cool.
I hope he still is. Andrew, if you're hearing this, I still want you to do that.
Okay, so I'll move along to Thursday. And I will say, I'm going to be at the Totem booth a lot this year. So if you don't hear me mentioning a lot of bands, a lot of artists, it's because my priority this year is more or less going to be Totem and focusing on our nonprofit. So Thursday, we're going to start at noon with our Totem events. We've got that Bonnaroo 101 event, and we've got the event in the Academy, the Lost and Found event at 1 p.m. Now at 2:30, I'm going to try to make it out to the Who stage, which is out in Plaza 7, to see our friends Crumb Snatchers.
Yeah,
Really
I should have
gonna
mentioned that. I'm going to see them too.
Well, it's on the outer Roo schedule.
Yeah.
So it's a little hard to see because you have to switch back and forth between the tabs and stuff. But I'm going to try to make it out there to see them. And then I think I'll just kind of bounce around, for the rest of the evening. I'm going to try to go see Luke Combs. I really haven't gotten into Luke Combs that much, but I'll probably try to go see him just because he is the headliner that night. And just kind of bounce around that evening, I guess. And probably turn in early because it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Can he play that Twister song? That's the one I know. I want to hear that one. Something about Oklahoma. That's all I know.
That one and the Fast Car song.
Yeah. Well, that's not even his song, but yeah. Okay, I get it.
Well, Friday, go to the beer exchange, wake up and pop my head out the door. And
I mean, it's literally across the street for us, yeah.
There is some events that I saw on the also on the Academy that I thought were really cool that I might check out that day. But again, focusing on our nonprofit. There is an artist that I would like to see at the Who stage, Abby Callahan at 1:15. She's really cool. She has a song that's called Mary Jane that I really like. But again, just focusing on... No, not that.
I know.
No, it's a different song. Focusing on our booth, our nonprofit. And I have to go see King Giz. But I'm probably going to leave King Giz a little early to get a really good spot for Rainbow Kitten at 9:30. Because Rainbow Kitten is one of my top bands that I want to see for the whole weekend.
Yeah.
I really, really love Rainbow Kitten. And then I'm going to try to get in the pit for Glass Animals. So that's my big ones for Friday.
Catch us all there.
Saturday, we've got our podcast party at 4:30 on the house stage. So everyone come check that out. And then, the Super Jam, obviously. But I've also started to listen to Avril a little bit lately.
Oh, snap. You were the one that got me in on this.
No, I'll still go to
the Super Jam.
I'll still go to the Super Jam. And then Olivia at 10:30, and then King Giz, and then catch me at the Robe Rage.
Now, what time is that?
It starts at 1:30.
Oh, that's not that bad.
Yeah.
It used to be at like 4 or 5 a.m.
It goes all the way until 5 a.m.
Oh, God. Y'all, for you newbies that haven't seen the Road Rage in the past couple of years, that's where some real weird shit goes down. I'm just saying.
So on Sunday, there is an artist, Goldie Boutelier. She starts at 1:15 at this tent. And I would describe her as Sabrina Carpenter for a more mature, older audience, I guess.
Yeah?
Not as poppy as Sabrina.
Okay.
Then at 2:45, Treaty Oak Revival. Treaty Oak Revival and Goldie are my top two of the whole weekend. And then Royal Otis.
Heck yeah.
And then King Giz again. And then Vampire Weekend.
Ooh, we're going to be going to a lot together on Sunday. Good.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But,
what about the end of the day, though? What's going to be your call for the end of Sunday?
Oh, that's it. That's all I had.
Really? Mm-hmm. Ooh, we'll go with us to LSZ and Washed Out.
Okay.
That'll be fun. Again, nothing against Hosier. I like him just fine. It's just like, I think I'm going to do this instead, But yeah, I like this. Now, I'm going to encourage you, even while we're recording the pod, have a good time. Don't feel like you have to be committed to Totem all weekend. Make sure you go to a lot of shows, too.
Well, I'll be honest. I'll be very, very, very honest. So, musically, this is a light Bonnaroo for me. And that's fine. That's totally, totally fine.
Yeah?
That's it.
Okay. Well, obviously, we have talked about this before. We go for the party. Our friends are there. We have a big party in the campground. You never know what kind of adventures you're going to have once you go into Sinru. Something I realized, too. In all of our schedules that we just talked about, it doesn't seem like either of us are ever going to go to Where in the Woods.
Well, the Where in the Woods is different this year.
Yeah, I know. I do want to stop by and see, how it looks and everything.
I didn't go last year either.
Yeah, I mean...
But the reason I didn't go last year is because it was...
Yeah, it was a little crazy, yeah. I mean, other than the time that we hosted that cherub thing in there about 2 or 3 years ago, I've honestly never spent that much time in there. I like to swing in just to see the artsy stuff that's going on. Maybe we'll do that Wednesday after we get done with the pre-party. Maybe Thursday. I don't know. But I need to make a point to go over there sometime. I really want to go because obviously you guys have probably seen the like NASA stuff that's going on. Mm-hmm. They're going to have some imagery that goes along with the music. I need to go see that, obviously, and report back. But I don't know. It happens starting at 3 a.m. every day. We'll just see how it goes. Maybe if I'm up late one night, I'll swing by before I go to bed.
I was going to go to the Pride party.
Yeah?
That's in the Woods. But it's the same time as the Road Rage.
Yeah, the Pride Party is at a difficult time because it is the same time as King Gizzard, Justice, Arcade Fire, Gorgon City, and the Road Rage. That just seemed like it's a brutal time for that to be happening. Now that we really have let the schedule sink in, it's like, ooh, it might be a light crowd at the Pride Parade. That's kind of a shame.
Yeah, there's no way I would make it.
Yeah.
Because the Road Rage is like, that hasn't been a thing in several years at Bonnaroo, and I'm not going to miss that.
Yeah, if you think about it, I would dare say that late night Saturday is one of the most brutal conflict nights that I can ever remember at Bonnaroo. Like, that's tough. I mean, not just those acts, but the Pride Parade, some other stuff that's going on. That's tricky, man. Mm-hmm. What do you think? Can you think of another big conflict that compares? I'm thinking of like 10 years ago, not Arcade Fire, but Vampire Weekend and a couple of other bands. I think it was 2014 on a Friday, if I remember correctly.
I can't remember.
I'll have to look back at the old schedule and find out who all it was, but I remember it was a brutal one. It's been a decade at this point, man.
I don't know how people remember stuff like that.
It's getting to the point where I don't remember it as specifically.
People will talk about, on Reddit or whatever, they'll talk about, in 2015 when such and such happened. And I'm like, I have no idea.
I used to have an encyclopedia.
Like, how?
Yeah.
How?
I used to could remember it well, but now I got too much going on and I can't remember all these things.
Like, no.
Well, there's also a reason we don't remember everything at Bonnaroo, but we won't talk about that. But yeah, okay, so those are our schedules. I'm sure there's going to be side quests. We've got to go stop by House of Yes a couple of times at some point, some of the other plazas if we can get to it. But we'll see how it plays out. I have been so deep in my Bonnaroo career at this point, I know that the best laid plans just get thrown out the window at the last minute. So that's what I'm telling everybody. Have one or two things that you're committed to for the day, but just be prepared for crazy things to happen the rest of the day. And it'll be fun, I promise. Mm-hmm. Don't worry about it, especially you newbies. I know that might sound a little intimidating. You'll see for yourself once you get there. You start having your own side quest. You'll be like, whoa, you had the time of your life making new friends or having like great experience with your existing friends. Right. You'll see. Trust me. And get in touch with me. Report back. We'll get you on the pod. I want to hear from some rookies after the fact.
Absolutely.
That's something we haven't done.
Yes,
I want to talk with people who had their first Roo this year, and I want to see what happened that you expected, what happened that you didn't expect, things like that. Right. Those would be interesting stories to hear.
So, Daniel, you got anything else?
No, God. Oh, you putting that one on me? Yes, I do. Happy anniversary, babe. I had a great weekend with you at the beach.
Yes, happy anniversary.
Yeah, it was nice to have a little break before things are about to get really crazy here in the next week or two. Yeah, I know. But yeah, we're going to have a couple of things in the last episode or two before we get to Roo. I think the plan is we're going to be doing a lot of content. So obviously we have that live podcast on the house stage. But Sharla and I are also going to be recording clips all over the place like we've done the past couple of years. We'll edit together in like a big kind of like live from the farm kind of podcast, right?
Yes.
So you should be getting some on all your adventures. I'll get some on mine and we'll edit them together once we get home.
Yes.
So that episode might be a week or two later than it usually is, like a week or two after Roo. But bear with us. We're going to do a couple of different things. We might have to take our time editing that together. So find us on the farm. If we aren't busy and if we're coherent enough, we'll do a little something with you that we'll put on that live from the farm episode.
Also, check out our Instagram this week. We're going to be giving away a lunchbox.
We are? Oh, my gosh, yes.
Mm-hmm. A lunchbox hydration pack.
Yeah, shout out to Nick. All right, yeah, that's plenty this week. Again, happy anniversary, babe. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from right now, we're going to have Lacey here at the house, and we're going to be leaving the next day. It's sneaking up, man.
It really is.
It's sneaking up, dude. All right, everybody, be going through your stuff, making your store runs, get everything clean, start freezing some ice, clean out those hydration backpacks. Maybe you'll win one of those lunch boxes. I don't know. But you got a lot to do. Let's get on it, guys. Get out there and radiate positivity. We'll see you next week.
Bye.